Good morning. Welcome to the Weather Desk. Today is the 28th of July. It's Tuesday, and we've got a big weather day shaping up for Hampton Roads this afternoon and evening. Potential for severe weather, and we are under another weather impact alert. We're going to break all of that down, and I'm going to say this. The Storm Prediction Center has updated their outlooks for today, and it's looking a little more ominous or troubling for Hampton Roads. So I'll explain those changes here as we roll along. Some things to remember about flash flooding. Taylor's got a package on that. We'll talk about that, as that is one of the threats today. In addition, we're tracking the tropical activity in the eastern and central Pacific. We've got two named storms. One is going to come pretty close to Hawaii. We'll show you what's going on with Fausto, and then we've got a major hurricane in Genevieve. Both those, I'll tell you all about them in just a little bit here. I have an update. If you haven't heard, there was a large earthquake impacting southern Japan, 7.1 on the Richter scale. We'll have more on that. We'll let you know kind of what's happening in Japan right now with that. And I also have the latest on the European wildfires. There continues to be trouble in Europe with wildfires in Spain especially, but also parts of France have seen it. There have been some other hot spots as well. And then we're going to talk about the extended forecast. After the storms we see later today and tonight, things look a lot better here in the mid-Atlantic as we go forward over the next 4 days or so. It's going to be beautiful, so we just have to hang in there. Let's start off with a look at the severe weather outlook for today. Thompson Creek Window Company Skyview looking okay. Hazy sunshine right now. We had a little bit of fog around Hampton Roads early this morning, some of the inland areas and down to the south. Right now the visibility is improving, but things are going to change later this afternoon. With heat and a lot of low-level humidity, that combination out ahead of a front that's going to come through is likely to trigger storms. And some of those storms could become well-organized, and we could see some cells kind of starting to form lines or even some bowing out in some cases. Eventually, we're going to see a front clear the area. Things will improve late tonight and early tomorrow morning. But the impacts include gusty winds, the potential for some flash flooding or excessive rainfall. There's also the risk of isolated tornadoes, and I could go ahead and put in large hail below this as well. Initially, when I was doing this graphic, I mean, you can see we're running out of space on this graphic, but initially, it looked like the hail threat was going to be greater north and west of our viewing area. Up once you got up towards Richmond, some of the areas off to the west, up around the northern neck. But now that hail threat is looking like it's extending closer to the coast and down through Hampton Roads. So I'll talk more about that. And then, again, that risk of tornadoes also increasing all the way to the coast, where earlier Virginia Beach wasn't directly threatened from the Storm Prediction Center's outlook. Now that level 2 threat for tornadoes all the way to the coast. Bottom line, stay weather aware. We talk about this. You should tune in to 13 News Now for updates, and when you're away from the TV, get it online or through our mobile apps. Great way to stay up on the radar and what we're doing. Special updates, reports, warnings. But I also really advise folks to have more than one way to get updates. I think a weather radio is always a good idea. Make sure you've got different ways to get alerts if you are on the go. Very important. All right, so what are we talking about? Well, there's a moderate risk for winds 60 miles an hour or greater. We say 50 to 70 is a general range. And then you look large hail, tornadoes, and flooding minor, okay? Taylor Stephenson put this together. I agree with her. I see, you have a couple of tornadoes spinning up. That's a big deal for those locations, but other areas won't see all of that development. So I would say minor to moderate for most of these things. And as we go along, I am seeing increasing threats for tornadoes and hail, even a little closer to the coast. So again, we may continue to bump that up. I'll show you a more detailed look where you can really get a feel for exactly where things line up a little later in the show as we break down the forecast. Right now, it is dry across the area, but I'm telling you, things are going to be changing up a little bit later on. We've got wet weather out to the west, a few flood warnings out over West Virginia and back over into Ohio along the Ohio River there. We are dry this morning. morning, but you look at this outlook, level 2 from southern parts of New Jersey and Pennsylvania, all of Maryland, Delaware, all of Virginia, just about all of North Carolina, much of South Carolina, eastern parts of Tennessee. This is a large area with this level 2 threat. Now the hail threat, remember before it was out to the west. Now it's including Norfolk and most of Chesapeake, along with Portsmouth, down into northern Camden County, parts of Pasquotank there as well. So this is a little adjustment. Hail for a little bit more of the area. I still think this is a lower threat. While I do think that we're going to track some storms with hail returns in those cells. The large hail, 1 inch or diameter, the chances for that are greater out to the west. We'll see what we get, but just know there could be some hailstorms or hailstones produced by the storms even closer to the metro and maybe reaching a little farther to the east. Wind is still the biggest threat. You can see it's a third tier of elevated threat, and that's for the downtown area and into western parts of Virginia Beach, most of Chesapeake. Again, those same areas down through Pasquotank and Camden, Perquimans, Chowan, all of those areas down to the south and everybody to the west. This is what's a little more concerning, and I did recognize earlier that that tornadic threat was elevated. This is kind of a level 2. You know, a lot of times we'll say, okay, we've got thunderstorms. And then we break down there our hail, strong winds, tornadoes. What are the great threats? And sometimes you'll see yellow shaded. This is what we were outlooked for yesterday, just that kind of first elevated tier. Now, the entire metro area, the peninsula, middle peninsula, northern neck, all of northeast North Carolina, the only parts of the 13 News Now immediate broadcast viewing area not under that level 2 kind of elevated threat for tornadoes is the eastern shore and the Outer Banks, and they have a level 1 elevated threat. So again, most of us need to pay very close attention, stay weather aware this evening. Again, Tim Pandages, Evan will be watching this very carefully, and this is why we have our weather impact alert, because we could be seeing tornadoes anywhere from Alfonso and Christchurch, Saluda, down through Cricket Hill, Beaverlet, I think Matthews, Gloucester, all of these areas, Williamsburg, Poquoson, Newport News, Hampton. You come south side, all of these areas, Franklin, Ivor, Smithfield, Suffolk, across Chesapeake, all of Portsmouth, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, and then down into North Carolina, all the way to the Outer Banks, Corolla, areas north of the Oregon Inlet, south of the Oregon Inlet, Manteo, Kill Devil Hills, those areas farther south are under a level 1 threat. But we just need to stay weather aware, so very important. And then excessive rainfall, it's possible, not likely, but possible you're going to see some flood advisories or maybe some flash flood warnings as well. Now, I want to time this out for you as we take a little closer look at what's going on. You're going to see that chance for showers and storms, not this morning, not through midday, but once we get into the afternoon. 3:30, 4 o'clock, cells start to pop up. Some of these roll along. They could be strong, possibly severe. I think we're going to see more development as we get into the evening. This is the HRRR model. That's the high-resolution rapid refresh model. Some of these cells very powerful. 8, 9, 9:30, 10 o'clock, you see some of these cells very, very intense. Settling down, that's 11:15 as we go past midnight. A lot of the activity winds down. It will eventually all settle out. By the time I'm in early tomorrow morning, we're going to be talking about clear skies and huge improvements for the rest of the week. Now, that flash flooding is a concern, and we're going to talk some more about that with this heavy rain in the forecast. You've got to watch out for rapidly rising runoff. That's flash flooding. Meteorologist Taylor Stephenson explains how quickly it can happen and what you should look out for.
Flash flooding is one of the top 3 weather-related killers in the U.S. Let's break down some flash flood fast facts. By definition, a flash flood is rapidly flowing high water in a typically dry area that is likely to cause flooding within 6 hours or less. According to the National Severe Storms Laboratory, flash flooding is the most dangerous type of flooding due to the flood's destructive power and speed. Flash floods are more common in urban areas than in rural areas. Buildings and concrete promote runoff because the water can't be soaked into the ground easily. The runoff causes a buildup of water, leading to a higher risk of flash flooding. Low-lying and poor drainage areas are also susceptible to flooding. Flash flooding is also more common during the spring and summer. Data from the Weather Prediction Center shows that between 2007 and 2017, on average, 3/4 of flash floods were reported between late April and mid-September. Flooding is the second highest weather-related killer in the U.S., with heat as the #1 weather-related killer. For 13 News Now, I'm meteorologist Taylor Stephenson.
All right, Taylor, thank you for that. Coming up, powerful tornadoes and heavy rain devastate parts of the Midwest, flattening homes and flooding neighborhoods. We're tracking the destruction and what's next. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. Take a look at these high temperatures. Sweltering heat. Vegas, 110, 100 in Salt Lake City, 113 in Phoenix, El Paso, 107, triple digits for Dallas and Little Rock, Wichita, 106, upper 90s, Omaha and St. Louis. It was hot in Minneapolis, brutal across the central and parts of the southwest U.S. You know, as we're bracing for severe weather here, other parts of the country are cleaning up after powerful tornadoes and rain on Monday. Here's Sophie Flay with a closer look.
From powerful tornadoes to blinding rain, a line of severe storms slamming the Midwest. AccuWeather storm chasers tracking a twister near Appleton, Wisconsin. Multiple cars buried under twisted sheet metal. This camping trailer flipped on its side. The National Weather Service estimating it was an EF2 packing winds of at least 111 miles per hour, toppling power lines and causing transformers to explode. The tornado carving a path of destruction through the area. The city of Menasha taking a direct hit, prompting the mayor to declare a local state of disaster.
I headed down to the basement with my kitty, and when I come up, it's like a war zone here.
The view from above shows roofs ripped from homes and businesses destroyed, including this bakery. Down on the ground, cars crushed under debris, others tossed like toys. The windows of this building blown out. The storm's also hammering the Chicago area, triggering flash flooding and leaving a trail of damage.
It's like some huge dinosaur just stomped on everything.
Buildings ripped open, debris scattered across streets. Overnight, hundreds of thousands of customers without power across the region. The severe weather bringing air travel to a halt. Chicago's O'Hare seeing delays of 6 hours. More than 1,600 flights canceled nationwide. The storm system now pushing east after a separate round of storms already pounded parts of New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Flood watch is in effect today along the I-95 corridor from Philadelphia to New York. Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
All right, so let's take a look at the severe weather outlook across the country here. We focus so much on Hampton Roads and that slight risk. We're going to come back here just to show you areas off to the north. Again, Maryland, Delaware, southern New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and farther to the south. So we focus a lot on our specific threats. There are other areas that need to be watched very closely as well. That greater risk, very likely that we see excessive rainfall or flash flooding. Northern sections of New Jersey, New York City, back into Connecticut, western Connecticut, and the southeast part of the Empire State. So they're dealing with that. There is a likelihood of flash flooding across central Ohio and then back across portions of Missouri around Kansas City up towards Omaha, Nebraska. These are the areas, though, that we're really going to be concerned with for the flooding. We will, of course, keep an eye to that and keep you updated. So in addition to that, out west, you can see Colorado back there as you approach the Front Range and then down through New Mexico and the southeast part of Arizona. There's also a marginal risk of severe weather out across portions of Colorado. Primary threats out here will be wind and hail. So that's what they're looking at there. Now for tomorrow, level 2 threat down to the south. Florida, Georgia, right along the line there, and then back over to the Panhandle. It's a level 1 threat. There's also a level 1 threat eastern Montana into the Dakotas there, western parts of North and South Dakota, a little bit of northeast Wyoming as well. Again, primary threats, wind, and then as we look ahead to Thursday, we have this larger area still a level 1 threat. That's from Kansas through Nebraska, Iowa, portions of Minnesota, and then the Dakotas. That's a look at the severe weather outlook going forward. We're going to take a quick break. Right after that, we'll get to our tropical weather outlook, plus a powerful earthquake shakes Japan with tsunami warnings still in effect this morning, and relentless wildfires continue scorching parts of Europe. How long officials expect the fires to keep burning. I hope your Tuesday morning's off to a great start. We're going to check out the tropics right now. We'll start in the Atlantic Basin. We always do. Hampton Roads right here. Very concerned with the tropical Atlantic Basin this time of year. Fortunately, we're still in great shape. The Gulf is quiet. The Caribbean looks good. There's a cluster of storms out here that's kind of interesting to look at, but again, it's not well organized. And even if it were to organize, it's not a threat to anything. You see Bermuda here. There's a line of storms associated with a frontal boundary offshore. The rest of the basin, pretty quiet. So looking forward over the coming 7 days, the Hurricane Center is not anticipating any tropical cyclone activity. As we turn our attention to the East Pacific, two systems. We have Fausto and we have Genevieve. And Genevieve is the bigger of the two systems here. This has been a major hurricane, a Category 5 at one point. Now it's a Cat 4, winds of 140 miles per hour, gusts to 165. It is going to weaken as it moves over cooler water. It will continue to move off to the west-northwest through the upcoming weekend. Then we have Fausto, and Fausto is out here passing by to the north of the Hawaiian Islands. So Hawaii is watching this. Looks like they're going to be in pretty good shape. As this thing passes by to the north, it'll kick up a little more wave action. They already have those monster waves on the North Shore, right? So the surfers are probably going to like that. I don't think there'll be much rain associated with this system reaching the islands, but some of the northern islands may see a little bit of rain from that. So we're not going to be dismissive of it, but it does look like the worst of this will pass to the north of the islands. Now, as you can see, a little bit of activity, earthquake activity around Hawaii. That happens all the time there. I mean, the islands were formed by volcanoes, and that's just a regular part of the deal. But over here in Japan, the southern part of Japan, this is a different story here. This was a huge earthquake that occurred, and I just wanted to zoom in and give you a little more detail. There have been numerous aftershocks, but this one right here with a magnitude of 7.1. This is a large earthquake. This 7.1 magnitude earthquake rocked the southern part of Japan today, prompting a tsunami advisory for parts of the coast. Take a look at this video showing the moment the quake hit. The earthquake struck Kyushu, the island there, just before 4:30 local time. Now, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, it was about 6 miles below the island. The rumbling lasted about a minute, and several thousand homes lost power. Thankfully, there were no reports of injuries or deaths. And you think about this, one quick note, again, Japan frequently hit with earthquakes. Their structures are built to withstand a lot of what they see. So, that magnitude 7.1 is huge. You think about how hard Venezuela was hit, and those were, I believe, 7.3 and 7.5. So large earthquakes there and here, but Japan has built a lot of its infrastructure to better handle this type of activity. Still, that's a pretty amazing thing, and we're going to continue to watch to see if we do get any updates on any injuries or hopefully no fatalities, but we'll continue to watch that. All right, in addition, we have wildfires overseas we want to update you on. We'll take a look at this very quickly again. Back across Spain and Paris, we've been looking at several hot spots. Still no significant rain there, and the heat goes on. Madrid, 97, 93 in Bordeaux. Paris, a little cooler at 86. But French and Spanish authorities say the wildfires burning across parts of their countries may not be extinguished for months. This week, the temperature is expected to stay well above average, with those highs, and no significant rain, as I just showed you, is in the forecast. Fire danger remains a major concern, and crews continue battling the flames, but dry conditions and strong heat are making it very difficult. As of this morning, wildfires have burned the area 4 times the size of Paris and forced more than 250,000 from their homes. All right, quick live look outside. We're tracking that severe storm threat for later today. We'll wrap things up in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to the weather desk. All right, we do have a weather impact alert. What are we talking about? Strong storms and heavy downpours this afternoon and evening, and the impacts include the potential for damaging wind gusts, flash flooding, and isolated tornadoes. There could also be some areas that get some larger hail, so we need to watch all of it. Now, I told you to give you a little more detail on what I think the threats are looking like at this point. All right, you don't see anything green, meaning, don't worry about it. If you see green with these bars, you go, okay, we're good. Well, in all cases, we have to watch for some development here. Winds and rain, straight line winds, outflow from the storms, and rain. Those are going to be the 2 biggest threats. But hail is also a threat. And you'll notice I bumped up this tornado. The outlook here, I think with it being a level 2 kind of elevated risk across the region, we really, really want folks to stay mindful that you may have to take action. That's the interior of your buildings. Just make sure you have a way to get alerts and then act if there are warnings. You can see at the beaches today, not too bad. We will find the rain chances increasing this afternoon, continuing this evening. After this, so much nicer, mostly sunny Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Our next rain chance is coming late in the weekend. Again, stay weather aware through the afternoon. Check back with 13 News Now. We'll keep you updated. Have a good one.